Hello YouTube, N64 here, I'm back. Thanks for tuning in again as always, it's very much appreciated. Got quite a bit to go through on this episode. I want to talk about some of the things I've been enjoying on this journey regarding the PS3 Essentials and PS4 Hits. I've got some special mentions to some of the people who have been kindly helping me on this journey. I want to talk about some of the things that are useful and some tips, if you like, that will help you on this journey. Some things I've learned along the way, some things that I've had taught to me by other like-minded and kind people out there in the community, and I've also got a few pickups to go through for this last week or so that we'll get to and sort of talk through, and there will be a teaser of what's to come on the channel soon, because I've been working a lot behind the scenes to get some of the harder to reach and harder to find games on this journey to a full set of PS3 Essentials and PS4 Hits, and then we'll be concluding with what's coming next on the channel in terms of the next episode of Mission N64239, episode 15. But before all of that, we're going to head down to Kidderminster on my lunch break. It's a 20-minute journey there, 20-minute journey back, and that'll leave me with 20 minutes to look around the CEX and see if there's anything there that I need to add to my collection or want to add to my collection, and yeah, try and burn some of that voucher. So let's go to Kidderminster then. Right then guys, and just like that, we are back from Kidderminster. A couple of pickups to go through from there. Not the best, not the worst. I was hoping to pick up Manhunt on the PS2. I've been talking to a friend at work, Sam, about that. It's apparently a good game. I'm not sure how I missed it back in the day. You know, I was quite a fan of Rockstar's work, really like the GTA games, but it's not one I ever come across, and it's one that I've looked at gameplay since he mentioned it, and it looks like a game that I'd enjoy, to be honest. If you've got any comments on that game, let me know. But yeah, they didn't have the manual, unfortunately. I'm not sure if it was behind the till with the disc. I didn't ask, I probably should have, but I decided to leave it, and hopefully I'll come across it again in another CEX. But I did pick up some bits when I was there, and they were Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, a PS3 Essentials game ticked off. Great to find in CEX because it's so cheap, £1. Yeah, fully complete. Got the correct disc, which is like a massive plus and a rarity these days. But it's got all the extra paperwork with it. You know, just promoting some book and something else. But obviously, as a collector, that's great to have. It's in a decent case, and for £1, you can't go too wrong with that. Another Essentials game ticked off. I'll have to total up where we are at some point. I'll probably wait till what else I've bought that's yet to arrive, and then sort of total up where we are. Hopefully, we'll be nearing halfway at that point, because I've got a decent stack still to arrive. But yeah, pleased to tick another Essentials game off, and my trip to Kidderminster was therefore, even on that basis alone, as far as I'm concerned, a successful one. I used a voucher as well, so it didn't cost me anything on the day. But yeah, it was only £1 anyway. Next up, I managed to find a PS4 Hits game that I don't have. Also a result. It's nothing special, not a rare one. It's only £4, but Injustice 2. Anyone's got any comments on this, let me know. Not one I've ever played before. Looks like it's got some kind of superheroes on it as well, which is pretty cool. So definitely one that I'm keen to have a go on. Another one ticked off. I think there's 57 PS4 hits in total, so I must be getting near halfway now. And I've got some really good ones on the way, but no spoilers other than that. But there's some real good ones coming, some of the harder ones to get. I've been busy, but they have been located in another country, so they're going to take some time to get to me. But yeah, pleased to add another one. It doesn't have a manual. From what I can see online, it's not meant to. It's just those instructions there. But if anyone can confirm that for me, that would be great. And yeah, nice and cheap. Voucher again, so pleased to tick another one off. Now, the rest of these I'm going to quickly speed through are online purchases, so not as exciting for me, but they are decent purchases all the same. So first of all, if you saw my short last week, I had this sealed Ghost Recon Future Soldier Tom Clancy game in the Essentials range, and it came sealed. Yeah, it arrived damaged in the post where like the casing was punctured. Now, I was speaking to a viewer of the channel and someone I consider a strong acquaintance, a really knowledgeable guy who's collecting Essentials and Hits, a chap called Scott, a really knowledgeable and friendly guy. He reached out to me and said, be careful when it's not a PlayStation 3 seal, it could be a reseal. They'd had one like it before. And so, you know what, I thought what had happened is I put in a return request because of the damage, and the seller offered me a 50% refund. I only paid like £13.20 for it anyway. So I ended up getting £6.50 refunded, and I just thought, you know what, it's only cost £6.50 for the damage, I'll keep it. And what I've actually done is I've done a case transplant, so now the damage, you can't feel it there. Obviously the inlays rip slightly, but you can't, it's not as obvious now. And so for £6 for an Essentials game that don't show up so often, I feel like it's a pretty good price. Obviously, to do the case swap, I had to unseal it, and I took a massive risk, because if it was a reseal, I probably wouldn't have been able to get my money back. But I thought it'll only have cost me £6.50 odd, so even if it all went to pot, it's a gamble worth taking. Fortunately for me, it had all the correct paperwork, and of course it had the Essentials disc, so that's a win for me. It's now got a decent case. Obviously the inlay's still damaged. It looks pretty bad on there, but you know, when it's in a case that's not damaged, it's pretty much a win really. You can't feel it, so I don't feel as bad about that. And I feel like for £6.50 for a one that you don't see very often, it's English, which is, you know, crucial for me. If they got an English release, that's the release I want. I don't want foreign games in my collection where there's an English version, so it's English. It's not one you see very often. Obviously I'll keep an eye out for a better one, but from my experiences so far on this journey, it's not one that I've really come across. So you got to pick your battles and make concessions with the condition requirements as and when. I believe they had more copies in stock, so alternatively I could have sent it back and bought a new one, but you know what, for half the price, I'd rather have it open anyway. I think I've got a result there. So another Essentials one ticked off, and really pleased with that one. Next up, just a week later, some of you reached out to me very kindly, including Scott again, and mentioned when I picked this up last week that it should indeed have a sleeve in there for the bonus disc. So there was another one on eBay, I believe, or Vinted, I can't remember which now. Actually paid less for this than the other one cost me. And so I got a copy that was complete with the map again. I basically did a Frankenstein and got the best case, best discs, best map, and of course kept the plastic sleeve for the bonus disc. So this is now fully complete as it should be. For someone who's fussy like me, delighted to have a fully complete copy in my collection, and I've now got a spare copy that I'm going to sell on and recoup as much of the money that I spent as possible on one of the copies. So yeah, really pleased to finally put that one to bed, and now that's one It was already ticked off last week, but it can go back and I can forget about it being technically incomplete. So really happy to put that one to bed so quickly. Next up, I didn't go through this last week because I was still deciding what I was going to do, but with the deal where I bought the sealed Assassin's Creed Black Flag last week and the Tom Clancy game, I also picked up FIFA 14, brand new and sealed. The reason why I didn't show it last week is because I was still deciding what I was going to do, but this is actually, even though it says we are FIFA 14 there in English, this is actually a Dutch and French copy. There's no English on the back of it, so I wasn't sure if I was going to return it, but it only cost about £4.50, maybe a bit under, because I used a 10% discount code. They only sell it for a £5 anyway. I got a 10% discount, so I ended up paying about £4.50 for it all in. And as I thought, well, so I need to find out if there's an English version of this. If it did come out in fully English, that's what I've got to start hunting down and then move this one on. Or if it never came out in English and you can only get copies like this, which of foreign European languages on, then in which case I'll just have to keep this one. I have a strong feeling that it would have come out in English. If somebody could confirm, somebody who's collecting the Essentials, Scott, or anyone else who's watching, if you're watching, if you can confirm whether I should be looking for English copy, then that would be great. I'll have to park this one on the shelf as one to move on when I come across an English copy, which I'll start hunting for. But yeah, obviously I couldn't tell this because they only had an image of the front and it looked English to me. So this is all a learning curve. I'm obviously learning from these things, and the fact they had the PlayStation Move features in English and the PEGI, I thought that this would be English, but I've been caught out if there is indeed an English copy, so I need to find that out. But this is all a learning curve, and for £4.50 I was willing to take the risk, but it just goes to show that I need to brush up and become sharper and more wise to what can happen, which I believe after this experience I'm certainly doing now. Next up, I picked up Ghost Recon 2 off eBay. I saw it in a bundle and I managed to get the guy to split, but unfortunately in asking him to split, he started doing some research and found out that one had sold for £30 recently. Obviously I told him I'm not paying that, and he said I'm not going to charge you that. We ended up agreeing about £15 all in posted. And yes, this is different to the one I showed you earlier that I unsealed. It's Ghost Recon 2. This is Ghost Recon. So yes, the case is a little bit yellowed. It probably could do with changing out, but it's got the Essentials disc, importantly, which I checked first. And it's got the manual and the warning leaflet and so on. So pleased to tick another seemingly uncommon one off. Of course, it is English, which is, you know, a must for me. If it came out in England, obviously I'm going for the English versions. It's in pretty good condition, but yeah, like I said, it doesn't smell of smoke, but maybe it just, I don't know if the plastic's stained or just needs a clean, but yeah, I'll probably swap that out for a nicer case at some point when I've got a spare one. I think I have got one over there actually, but yeah, pleased to tick another one of the seemingly more harder ones to find off. When I say this, they're probably not hard compared to some of the ones I don't have. You know, we're not talking FIFA 18, FIFA 17, Sorcery and stuff like that. But a lot of these games are just hard to come by. You know, they're not just sat there in CeX. They're not just sat there on eBay for at least a good price. You know, they're just not there when you look. I don't know if there's more people collecting them. There's not many of them. A combination of both. Something like that. Or they're all abroad as well. Either way, pleased to add another one in and get that one ticked off as well. Next up, I picked up this Lego Hobbit game. It's brand new and sealed. It cost me £13 on eBay. Ironically, I bought this, and then like the day after I went to Worcester CeX on a vlog a few weeks ago, and I saw it out in the wild, and they charge £11 at CeX, and I had my voucher at the time. So it's just like, it's just typical really. I would have preferred to have it open, and it was in good condition as well. But because I've only paid £2 more, it's probably, you know, not a problem to unseal it if I want to play that at some point. And it's another one of the Lego sleeve games ticked off, so I think that's my 8th now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, this is actually my 9th Lego sleeve game. I think there's 11 in total, so that only leaves 2 left to get now. So it's another one ticked off. So please add another one of those into the collection and yeah, get a step closer towards completing that little subset there. And yes, unfortunate not to pick it up in the wild, but it's brand new and sealed, so hey ho, it's in really good condition. After that, we just got some PlayStation 4 Hits games that I picked up online. They're not the easiest to find out in CeX. They're hard to see. Like, I don't think I've seen any of these out in the wild, certainly since I've been looking. But most certainly not some of the rare PS4 Hits games, but they're definitely not as common as some of the others. And they are Need for Speed Payback. Happy to add this one in. Looks like a fun game. Definitely one that I'd like to play. I think I paid about £9 for this. I'll put it on the screen in case I'm misquoting. But yeah, doesn't have a hits disc, obviously. It's got the manual. It's English. Really happy to add one in. Like I said, I don't think I've ever seen that in CeX, not since I've consciously been looking at least. So yeah, happy to add that one in. And yeah, we'll total up how many hits games we've got at the end of this video. But bearing in mind, there are also quite a few more on the way, including a lot of the heavy hitters, if you like. So yeah, happy to add that one. Next up, and keeping in with the Need for Speed theme, I picked up the first, I guess, Need for Speed game, and yeah, it is English, really happy. Another PS4 Hits one ticked off. Again, I don't think I've seen it in CeX in the PS4 Hits range. Again, not since I've consciously been looking anyway. Got the manual or sheet of paper, whatever you want to call it. It's in English, it's in great condition. I think I might have paid about 12 for that, about CeX price plus post, so can't really argue with that. And happy to add that one in. Last of all, and I don't think I've ever seen this one out and about, Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise. Again, it's brand new and sealed. I think I basically paid CeX price, maybe a couple of pounds more, but it's brand new and sealed, so you can't really argue with that. This is a good thing about collecting the hits. A lot of them are readily available, brand new and sealed still. Of course, like any set, it does have its rarities, and they're a bit harder and more troublesome to come by, but certainly ones that are more common at least. They're not difficult to get hold of sealed, and they're not that expensive either. So yeah, really happy to add this one into the collection. It's the 4th PlayStation 4 Hits game we've added over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, excluding the ones that we've bought abroad and are still being stockpiled by some friends doing some work for me. It is brand new and sealed, obviously, like I said, but the disc is loose in this one, a problem that I referred to with another sealed game that didn't have this issue. It's a bit annoying really, and probably one that I'll unseal at some point. Not least to have a go on it, but yeah, not ideal, but for the price it was only just above CeX price anyway, so happy with that one. So that's it for the pickups for this episode, but I wanted to talk a little bit about this PS3 Essentials journey, PS4 Hits, and some of the pros of full set collecting and just collecting retro games in general, because I'm really enjoying this journey. Obviously it makes you think on your feet. It gets you looking in the depths of the internet to try and find these games that are really uncommon. It gets you networking. This is rule number 1 really when you're going on a journey like this. You have to network. You can't do this on your own. It's wisdom of the crowd. It's strength in numbers and all of this. And I've been really blown away by some of the people that have reached out to me because of YouTube, or people that I've reached out to and have just been kind to me, not knowing that I do YouTube, or the ones that do know once I've approached them. It's just been really great, really. And this is a big plus for me about this journey. I've been meeting some great people and establishing relationships with people, and it's just nice to meet new people who all share a common interest. Examples of this that I haven't mentioned before. So there's a chap called Steve who I speak to on Instagram, who I met through commenting on my channel, I believe, and he's going for the full Essentials set. I think he's completed the PS4 Hits, and he's just been a really great guy to speak to and vibe off. He's provided me with lists with all the games that are within those catalogues, which is invaluable. To try and do that on your own would take so much time. Obviously he's done that with other friends and acquaintances over the however many years, and it's great to be able to access this resource without the headache of having to do it all yourself. So much appreciated to you, my friend. You've been great, really appreciate it. And then there's obviously Scott, who I've already mentioned on this video, who's helped me with Essentials and Hits and just been, you know, a valuable resource as well. Really appreciate you, my friend. Shout out to the both of you. You've been great and really helping me on this journey. And then further than that, I've been networking with old acquaintances from the N64 scene. So I've got friends in Germany. I've got 2 friends in Germany, Noel and Adrian. I've got 1 friend in Belgium, Stefan, and they've been working with me to buy games in and around Europe that I'm not able to buy, not on eBay, some of them on Vinted, some on eBay. And they've been buying games for me, and they're building a parcel together. And once we've got enough games in that parcel, then they'll send them to me, and I'll try and get my money's worth out of the parcel. Then hopefully get about 5 or 6 games of Essentials and PS4 Hits with each. I think I've got at least 5 with each of them now. The reason why I went to all 3 of them is I didn't want to overburden one of them. It's been great to rekindle relationships with those guys. Actually, Stefan over in Belgium, I've actually bought a game in England for him before and shipped it to him. So I've done him this favour before, albeit for not as many games. He's doing it for about 5 games for me. But he said he's happy to keep building the parcel. And this is really important stuff, because if you know about your Essentials games, and it applies to PS4 Hits as well, there's games around Europe in English that you just don't see in this country. Whether it just didn't release here, I'm still learning, but I'm under the impression that certainly some of them didn't release here. And it's just mental, isn't it, that you can look in a foreign country, like I've got a game coming from France, for example, in English, and it's just nowhere to be seen in England. CeX, none on eBay sold, none on Vinted or anything like that. They're just nowhere, and they're readily available in France, for example, without having to search too hard, even though they've got their own language version of the game. It's absolutely nuts, isn't it? What this journey has done is it's helped me rekindle those relationships, the relationships that have gone a bit cold because I haven't had to speak to them so much lately, because I finished my N64 journey a long time ago. They've probably finished their N64 journeys relatively, so there's not been as much engagement going on, but it's just rekindled old vibes. And what's also been great as well, I've been meeting new people, like I said, on Instagram, who have been reaching out on this new journey. I've actually been speaking to a guy in South Africa who's helping me look for one exclusive out there. We've got a really promising lead on that, so hopefully I can bring some good news to the channel in the not too distant future. But these are the sort of relationships you need to build on this journey, and in speaking to this guy, there's sort of a friendship building there, and it's just great that on this journey you can make new contacts and meet people all over the world that if you weren't doing this, you'd never even know about. And these are some of the nicest people that I've come across in a long, long time, you know. With all the negativity that's been going on in the world lately, it's nice to meet some of these selfless people out there that will do this for you free of charge without asking for anything. I've offered money to say thank you, and all of them have said, don't worry about it, I'm happy to help. If there's any more games you want to add to your package, just let me know. So this is great, you know. Really kind people out there, and hopefully the one in South Africa will come good as well. Just to wrap up this video then, I just want to say that next Thursday I'll hopefully bring the next episode of Mission N64239, and we're going to strike while the iron's hot and go for Chameleon Twist 2. Not a game that I've ever played before, but knowing the control scheme from Chameleon Twist, which I completed on the last episode, Mission N64239, I think we're up to episode 15 now. So episode 15 is going to be Chameleon Twist 2. If you've got any comments on this game, let me know. Really looking forward to it. Yeah, that's about going to do it for this week's episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've enjoyed it, please whack a thumbs up. It really helps me out. You know what happens when you whack a thumbs up. I've explained it enough times already. If you've got any comments on any games I've picked up, please whack a comment and light up the comment section. Let me know what games you like, which games you didn't like. Anything you've got that can help me on this journey, anything you need help with on this journey, I'm here to help as much as I can, and I'm very willing to give back to the community what the community has been giving to me so far. If you're new to the channel or a returning viewer and you're not yet subscribed, please consider doing so. It really helps me out. We're trying to bring more of you along on this journey. Can I complete all the PS3 Essentials library? Can I collect and complete all the PS4 Hits? Can I complete and review all 239 UK Power N64 games? Episode 15 should be dropping next week. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you on the next one. So yeah, that's about that's about going to do it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you've enjoyed it, please whack a thumbs up. It really helps me out. Push